Welcome to the Word of Truth. This is Teacher D.H. Spoon. Today's message is called, Do You Love God? I know many people say throughout the day and every time they talk to someone, they express how much they love God. Well, in John 14:15, it says, if you love me, you will keep my commandments. God said if you love him with all your heart, soul, might, mind, and strength, that you will keep his commandments. See, what you have to realize is the word is true. God say that his word will never come back to him void. God is not a liar. He's a being that cannot lie. So if God say, if you love me, then you will keep my commandments. So that means if you don't keep his commandments, that means that you don't love him. Because you have to realize it's two masters you could serve. You could serve the God of the heavens and the earth, or you could serve the God of this world. When you don't serve God Almighty that created the heavens and earth, then you are serving a lesser God, which is the enemy, which is the prince of this world. The word is true. God is not going to change his word for me, for you, and for nobody else. My ministry is called the Word of Truth, and I speak the truth. And God said, now, if you love me, you will obey me. You will listen to me. You will listen to my instruction. You will trust me. You will be patient. You will wait upon me. Because God said, those that wait upon me shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not go weary. God said, if you love me, trust me. God say, perfect love casts out all fear. So when you know that you love God and you know God love you, then his perfect love for you will cast out all fear that the enemy try to put in you. You have to remember, fear has torment. God is not a God that will torment you. God is a comforter. God will not torment you. So that's why it's so important to ask yourself, do I really love God? I've been going around here saying I love God, but if I'm not keeping his commandments, then I must not really love him. I'm going to have to reevaluate myself. I'm going to have to reevaluate how I do things, because I know his word is true. He said his word will never come back to him void. And we have to realize that the Bible is the book of instructions. When you don't know what to do, all you have to do is open that book and it will give you instructions. It will tell you the right way to go. See, you are responsible on how you walk. You can't depend on no one else to make you walk right. You have to learn how to walk right and to follow the commandments of the Lord and his instruction. When God give you instruction, if he give it to you through a prophet, through your teacher, or through a television broadcast, through a minister, through a radio, whatever, however he give you instruction, if you have that feeling, that intuition within inside you saying that something don't feel right, I shouldn't move forward, that's God telling you, I'm trying to tell you what to do and what not to do. And so therefore you have to trust him. You have to listen to him. You have to obey his instruction. You have to obey when he tell you something. However, whatever avenue that he used, whatever vessel he used to tell you instruction and the right way to go, you need to do it. When you do not obey God, you obeying someone else, and it's not God. You obeying the prince of this world. So that's why you have to be very careful. If you say you love God, you will make sure that you obey his commandments. You have to ask yourself, do you put any other gods before God? Do you? If you in love with this world, then you putting another God in front of God. If you're doing the things of the world, because God say, hey, you know what? You have to live in the world, but not be of the world. And that means not living worldly, doing worldly things. So you have to ask yourself, are you around worldly people? Are you doing worldly things? Have God given you some instruction and given you some warnings? Are you keep doing the same thing that God have punished you before, See, when you say you're going to stop something and God tell you to stop something, when you do it again, it's going to be worse. And see, a lot of times people don't like the fruit of their own doing. But see, you let the enemy come in and tell you to do something and do something anyway, and God telling you not to do it. So God say, I chastise the one I love. I love you, and I'm going to chastise you and tell you that's not the right way to go. And when you go against me, I'm going to let you know that from you going against against me and listening to the enemy, you got punished. You know, you are letting the enemy set you up for punishment, and he going on about his business. So you have to be careful. Are you putting any other gods before God? God said, I am a jealous God. Do not put any other gods before me. And that's the first commandment. Then you have to ask yourself the next commandment. You have to ask yourself, are you putting any graven images? Have you built any graven images? Are you worshiping them? You have to make sure you're not worshiping any idols. You have to make sure you have not worshiping any type of idols. See, people don't realize you could have a person as an idol. If you idolizing someone, if you love something, if you putting more into something than you putting it into God, that's idolizing. If you're not willing to let a place, a person, or a thing go when God tell you, are you trying to hold on to it? You're idolizing it. When you can't let it go and God tell you to, that means you want to hold on to that thing more than you want to obey God. Now listen, God's word is true, and this is the word of truth. And if you want to grow and you want to establish your relationship with God, if you want to get to the kingdom of heaven, if you want to get to paradise, I'm telling you, it's time for you to renounce following this God of this world. Now is the time for you to buckle down and say, hey, I want to follow God. I want to follow him 100%. If I love him, I got to keep his commandments. And you have to make sure that you're not taking the Lord thy God name in vain. That's the third commandment. The third commandment is, you have to ask yourself, are you taking the name of the Lord thy God in vain? I used to say God, D-A-M. And then I remember one day my husband was laying on the couch and he rose up and he said, God say, stop saying that. And I didn't understand, but I'm taking his name in vain when I say that. So you have to make sure when you say God's name that you don't take it in vain. You can't speak it, it's good, but then you not doing what his word says. That's taking it in vain, because God and his word are one. So you can't take the word and you can't take God in vain. Make sure you watch how you use his name, and you have to make sure that you keep the Sabbath day and you keep it holy. You have to make sure that you think of the Sabbath day. You have to think of, this is the Sabbath day. I'm going to keep it holy. See, God created the heavens and earth in 6 days, and he said, one day I'm going to rest. But see, sometimes people just thinking about, I got to make this money. I got to do this. People get themselves into stuff and where they have to work 2 and 3 jobs. And God say, I didn't design for you to be like that. I said, keep the 7 days holy. Can't you keep one day for me, one day where you can rest and give me time? But people are so worried about chasing the things of this world, these material things, that it's making them work 2 and 3 jobs in 7 days a week. God say, where do I fit into the equation? Where? And you have to make sure that the next commandment with promise, you have to make sure that you honor your father and mother so you have long life on the land that God has given you. You have to make sure you don't, and see, a lot of times people say, okay, I honor my father and mother. You honor your father and mother when you respect them, when you respect their decision, when you respect their guidance and their instruction. Because see, parents are supposed to bring their children up in the Lord, because God say, train up your child in the way they should go. When they grow old, they won't depart from it. So you have to make sure you train your children up. And see, it's a lot of kids, when they get a certain age, they get rebellious. They don't want to listen to the instruction. The parents, the mother or the father, or both parents may give kids instruction and they do opposite. They do opposite of what God tell them. Then they get in trouble. Then they get mad. But God say, those things would have not fell upon you if you hadn't rebelled. If you would have honored your father and mother, if you would have respected their instruction, because we are responsible to bring our kids up in the Lord, so when they grow old, they won't depart from it. But sometimes you could raise your kids and you could tell them the truth, you could tell them the right way to go, but sometimes somewhere along the line, the enemy gets in there and they listen to them and they do things opposite of what God tell them. And then they have to eat as they grow. They have to learn. They have to hit their their own head and learn that if you go down, if you do that, you're going to hit your head. If you go down that road, you're going to be in trouble. See, it's a lot of times people don't realize that, you know, hey, your decision is why you in the situation you in. A lot of times people like to blame other people. God say, take ownership. When you decide to do it, when you decide to go against me, you was telling me right then and there that you didn't love me, that you loved the prince of this world. That's why you did it. You loved him more than you loved me, because if you would have loved me, my word would have overridden his word. And next, you know, we have to talk about God say do not kill. You know, and people be like, well, I don't kill nobody. You know, if you didn't physically kill nobody, did you kill somebody's dream? Did you kill somebody? You know, you could physically kill people with your mouth. You know what I'm saying? But you have to make sure, you know, see, and God say if you break one of these, you break them all. But see, some people say, well, you know what? I didn't kill nobody. You know, I didn't, and people have to be real careful with this, with the adultery part. Because some people say, well, I ain't commit adultery. If you listen to the enemy, you're committing adultery because you're cheating on God. Because God say, I'm the top dog. That's why I say, if you love me, keep my commandments. So that's why you have to be careful, you know, and watch what you say. Because God say, do not lie either, you know. And, well, the next one I want to talk about, that was committing that was killing. But the next one is committing adultery. God say, do not commit adultery. But some people say, okay, I don't commit adultery, but you do. You know, when you cheat on God, when you follow another God. And the next one is, okay, do not kill or do not steal, you know. And a lot of times people say, well, I didn't steal, but okay, you might not steal. Did you commit adultery? You know, God say, don't try to steal. You know, if it's not, don't belong to you and it's not yours, you shouldn't put your hands on it. You're not supposed to take things that don't belong to you, because it will be repercussions for not honoring God. And God is letting you know that the enemy is trying to get you into something. He here to kill, steal, and destroy. And when he entice you to go and steal and go against God's commandments, he's setting you up to be punished. So if you want to get mad at anybody, you get mad at him, but you get mad at yourself, because the enemy is the only, he revealed what's inside you. He don't make you do nothing. He just put something in front of you that you like and that you give in to, you know. And you have to make sure you don't bear no false witness against your neighbor. That means you can't tell your neighbor something that's not true. You can't be no false witness to your neighbor. You can't tell him the truth, something that's against God's word. You can't tell them no lie. Are you doing that? Are you telling your neighbor something that's not true? And the next one, the last one is, you know, make sure that you don't envy or covet anything that your neighbor have. You have to make sure that God blessed you with what you have. And just because your neighbor may have something, you know, you can't covet what they have. You're not supposed to covet anything they have, their wife, their husband. You know, just like this adultery, people going around sleeping with other people's spouses. God say, do not covet. God say, if you don't have a husband, that don't give you a wife, that don't give you a right to go sleep with somebody else's spouse. And God said to make sure you keep his commandments. Because when you keep his commandments, that show that you love him with all your heart, soul, might, mind, and strength. So today, you have to realize, you have to ask yourself, do I really love God? If I love God, I will keep his commandments. I will make sure I put no other gods before him. I will make sure I make no graven images and serve them and idolize them. I will make sure I will not take the Lord thy God in vain. I will keep the Sabbath day holy. I will honor my mother and father so I have long life on the land that he gives me. I will make sure I don't kill, I don't steal, I don't covet what my neighbor have. I make sure that I don't I make sure that I don't bear no false witness against my neighbor. You know, you have to make sure you don't kill, you don't steal, you don't commit adultery. You have to make sure you honor your father and mother. You have to make sure you don't bear no false witness against your neighbor. And you have to make sure that you do not, in any circumstances, covet what somebody else have. What God bless you with, you be happy with what God bless you with, you know. And remember, if you love God, you would keep all his commandments, all 10 of them, not just 2 of them or 3 of them or 4 of them. You would keep all 10 of them. Until next time, may the peace of God be with you. Peace.